Archduke Franz Ferdinand. It began with a failed attempt. On the morning of June 28, 1914, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his wife Sophie traveled through Sarajevo in an open-topped car. Their route had been publicly announced, a critical mistake. 7 members of a Serbian nationalist group called the Black Hand were stationed along the route. The first attackers hesitated, but one, Nedeljko Čabrinović, threw a grenade that bounced off the car's folded roof and exploded beneath the vehicle behind. The Archduke was unharmed, but several officers were injured. Believing the danger had passed, the royal couple continued with their schedule. Hours later, their driver took a wrong turn, stopping directly in front of Gavrilo Princip, another member of the group. Princip fired 2 shots at close range. One bullet struck Sophie, the other pierced Ferdinand's neck. Both died within minutes. The assassination led Austria-Hungary to issue an ultimatum to Serbia. When Serbia failed to comply fully, war was declared. Alliances were activated, and within weeks, Europe was engulfed in World War I. A moment of street violence had become the spark for one of humanity's deadliest conflicts. Julius Caesar. More than 2,000 years earlier, another assassination had changed the fate of an empire. In 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was at the height of his power. Having defeated his rivals in a series of civil wars, he was named Dictator Perpetuo, dictator for life. To many senators, this title meant the death of the Roman Republic. A group of about 60 senators, led by Gaius Cassius Longinus and Marcus Junius Brutus, conspired to kill him. Their plan was to strike during a Senate meeting in the theater of Pompey. On March 15th, the Ides of March, Caesar entered the hall, unaware of the trap. As he took his seat, he was surrounded. One senator, Tullius Cimber, grabbed his toga as a signal. The attackers struck with daggers hidden in their garments. Caesar was stabbed 23 times. Ancient historian Suetonius wrote that he fell at the base of Pompey's statue, covering his face with his toga. The conspirators claimed they had restored freedom to Rome. Instead, they unleashed chaos. The Roman Republic collapsed into another series of civil wars, leading to the rise of Caesar's adopted heir Octavian, later known as Augustus, and the birth of the Roman Empire. A murder meant to save the Republic instead destroyed it. Abraham Lincoln. On April 14, 1865, just 5 days after the end of the American Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln attended a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. The assassin John Wilkes Booth was a well-known actor and a Confederate sympathizer. He believed killing Lincoln would avenge the South's defeat and inspire a renewed uprising. At 10:15 p.m., Booth entered the presidential box, drew a .44 caliber Derringer pistol, and shot Lincoln once in the back of the head. The president slumped forward, unconscious. Booth leaped from the balcony to the stage, shouting, "Sic semper tyrannis," thus always to tyrants. He broke his leg on landing, but escaped through a side door. Lincoln was carried across the street to a boarding house, where he died the following morning. Booth was hunted down 12 days later in Virginia and killed after refusing to surrender. Lincoln's death devastated the nation. It left Reconstruction in the hands of a divided government and deepened the political fractures that would shape the United States for generations. The assassination of the man who preserved the Union left it struggling to heal. Indira Gandhi. On October 31, 1984, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi walked through the garden of her New Delhi residence toward an interview with a British television crew. 2 of her own bodyguards, Baint Singh and Satwant Singh, both members of the Sikh community, waited along her path. At 9:20 a.m., as she approached the gate, Baint Singh fired 3 bullets into her abdomen with his revolver. Satwant Singh followed with a burst from his Sten submachine gun. Indira Gandhi collapsed instantly. She was rushed to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, but was pronounced dead hours later. Her assassination was a direct consequence of Operation Blue Star, a controversial military raid she had ordered earlier that year against Sikh separatists occupying the Golden Temple in Amritsar. The attack on the temple, Sikhism's holiest shrine, had left hundreds dead. In the aftermath of her killing, anti-Sikh riots erupted across India. Thousands were murdered, many burned alive in their homes. The nation descended into one of its darkest periods of internal violence. Indira Gandhi's death not only ended an era of political dominance, but also exposed the deep fractures within India's religious and political identity. John F. Kennedy. On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy rode through downtown Dallas, Texas, in a motorcade beside his wife, Jacqueline. Crowds lined the streets, waving as the open-top limousine turned onto Elm Street. At 12:30 p.m., shots rang out. A bullet struck the president in the upper back, and a second hit him in the head. He collapsed into Jacqueline's arms. Governor John Connally, seated in front, was also wounded. The motorcade sped to Parkland Memorial Hospital, but Kennedy was pronounced dead within half an hour. An hour later, police arrested Lee Harvey Oswald, a former Marine who had lived in the Soviet Union, as the suspected shooter. 2 days after the arrest, Oswald was shot and killed on live television by nightclub owner Jack Ruby. The Warren Commission concluded that Oswald acted alone, firing from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Yet public doubt persisted, fueled by conflicting testimonies and the sudden deaths of key figures. Kennedy's assassination shocked the world. Television broadcast the grief of an entire nation in real time. The image of a young widow in a blood-stained dress became one of the century's most haunting symbols. The event marked the end of what many Americans saw as a moment of innocence and optimism. Yitzhak Rabin. On November 4, 1995, in Tel Aviv, Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin attended a peace rally celebrating the Oslo Accords, a historic attempt to end decades of conflict with the Palestinians. As the rally concluded, Rabin walked down the steps from the stage toward his car. In the crowd waited Yigal Amir, a 25-year-old Israeli law student and ultranationalist. Amir opposed the peace process, believing Rabin's concessions endangered the Jewish state. At 9:40 p.m., Amir stepped forward and fired 3 shots with a semi-automatic pistol. 2 bullets struck Rabin in the back. Rabin was rushed to Ichilov Hospital, but died during surgery. The assassination stunned Israel. Tens of thousands gathered in mourning as the peace process faltered. Rabin's death deepened divisions within Israeli society and marked the collapse of the most promising effort toward reconciliation in the region's history. The bullet that killed him also silenced a fragile hope for peace.